Okay, hello. Hope you're doing well. I'm moving into the gun space. I'm a gun tuber now. Okay. So I've been watching lots of, I feel like the civilians are starting to understand that they're going to have to rebuild the militia. The U.S. militaries are, they're compromised ideologically, right? Like everybody that was, really into the military got out. They started getting out, and that was like you started seeing flight from the military. In mid GWAT, I got out in 2009. They were trying to re-up me, and I gave up a, Ranger School billet to ETS. So people have definitely been fleeing the military for a while since the, all the EO and woke stuff first started creeping its head around, which was even before Obama administration. So anyways, so the civilians are realizing they're going to have to rebuild the militia, which is beautiful because that's what we should have always had. America is supposed to be a military of militiamen. All the able-bodied men in the United States should make up the militia. And that's more proper than a standing army, especially a standing army that turns into an expeditionary force to, conquer or occupy lands overseas. That's not an American concept. The militia is very American. They're going to have to reconstitute the modern form of the militia. And they're starting to realize that conventional tactics that are appropriate for the military in GWAT are not appropriate for that. So you're having to return to the light patrolling philosophy, which is an excellent play. It's exactly where we should be headed in terms of militia mindset. So all of this is very good. People are figuring out that CQB is a very, it's a very specific skill set. All CQB development, it really comes out of CAG, right? So it's not, it got pushed down to conventional army and special forces, because it is effective at killing people in houses. But really entering a target with armed people inside, that's way, way too high risk in terms of if you don't have an asset to recover, right? Which would be, that's CAG's charter prerogative is, asset recovery, from forces that don't want to give up the asset, right? They that's what they do. So all CQB is designed around that principle. But the reality is that if you don't have to recover an asset, just burn the house down or shoot it full of holes or blow it up and drop the roof, whatever. There's a lot of instances like that people are realizing, okay, this conventional sort of, big army mindset isn't appropriate for the light fighter. Maybe plates aren't appropriate all the time, which is absolutely the case. Anybody that's ever been to any of the Superman schools doing light patrolling, you're not going to be able to do, doing long movements in light patrolling and a bunch of plates, right? It's not a realistic thing. Anyways, it is a great thing that civilians are realizing that they need to move above and beyond this, these military trends from the GWAT era. That's a good, healthy thing. It isn't possible to learn those types of conventional skills from just watching YouTube videos. It's something that has to be practiced and, lived with, the techniques and procedures that you use all the time for that stuff to be effective. Any kind of advanced maneuver, advanced, tactic, CQB, these are all things that you cannot learn these things in theory from just watching. It's something that it's a participatory thing to even understand that. So what I'm trying to say is that most of the civilians in the gun space, they have the weapon. They want to know how to effectively use it. They're searching for the most effective ways, and they're getting all of this, unrealistic stuff as examples from conventional military mindset. And it is the right idea to be looking beyond that and looking into unconventional, ways of the past, light movement, guerrilla warfare, all that stuff. That is totally the right place to be looking. I cannot make you a high-speed, death-dealing, life-fighting assassin, okay? But what I can do is I can give you this is just one tip, okay? So I see all the time, I saw a video the other day with an SAS operator, and he's up here on a firing range, and he's firing his weapon, and then he's gonna be finished, and he's gonna check his chamber, and then he's gonna go back and he's gonna do what they call a press check, which is terminology I hate. I hate the term press check. You're doing a field inspection of your weapon. It's a weapon condition inspection. Anyway, they're doing all this. I mean, it's really mostly for show, and these techniques are not. They're not universal or basic enough. They have holes in them. There's times when, if you're trying to do a press check like this, you're going to be, unable to view inside of that. Like if you have, nods in certain conditions, you're not going to be able to see in there. If it's dark, just low light, low visibility, not going to be able to see in there. And water, there's a lot of conditions where that's not going to work. So this is not the correct way to do a weapon inspection. So the weapon inspection is really important because the two most important things about combat are in terms of a weapon, right? And this is not in terms of combat disposition, like your disposition to the enemy or maneuver or anything like that. But in terms of just someone that is capable of operating a weapon system, before tactics, before gear solutions, extra abilities from technology, anything like that, before even special skills like practicing my reloads, whatever it is that people do with rifles, dry firing all the time, before all that, you have to have a hard zero. So that's the first thing. So you have to have a hard zero, and you have to know your rifle's dope. You got to know your ammunition and rifle dope, and you want to know that for the maximum effective range of the rifle. And then the second thing is that you want to know the condition of your weapon. And that sounds simple, but it's so important. I can't tell you how many times, I can remember, being on missions in Iraq and seeing, these are like career soldiers, picking up a weapon and assuming that it's, it's got a round in the chamber, and like bringing up the weapon and clicking it. Like I've seen that before, from some of the OPs around Ramadi and stuff where, your people are in different rooms and they've got like a weapon set down, and then they'll like clear it because it's not in their hand or whatever. What may be hard to kind of foresee is that when you're in combat, you are loading the weapon to make it in a fighting condition so many times every single day, day after day, that you'll go to ask yourself, is this weapon loaded or not? And you're going to answer yourself with a memory from yesterday, or at least you think you will. You'll say, yes, I remember loading that weapon. Or was it yesterday? Or was it at lunch? Or was it at, it could have been 100 times that you unloaded the weapon or loaded it or whatever. Anyway, you can't inspect it too much, Knowing the condition of your weapon is huge because you cannot engage the enemy if you don't have bullets in your weapon. So before anything else, having a good weapon inspection procedure is paramount. I don't know where this went and why this isn't around anymore. I don't see it a lot, but this is the correct weapon inspection procedure, okay? So you from whatever, low ready or high ready, whatever your sauce is, maybe you're getting ready to go onto a target or leave a patrol base or leave the wire or whatever, and you're like, did I load the rifle? The rifle's loaded, right? The round in the chamber? Or was that yesterday when I did this? I can't remember. Okay. Let me show you how it goes. Real speed. All right. The rifle's loaded. I know that it's loaded. Now, not only do I know that it's loaded, but I know it's loaded under any condition. In dark, total darkness, under nods, if you're like sprinting, so if you're like running at a target and you're like, oh, am I loaded? Yes, I am loaded. I'm ready. You're going to be able to use this in any condition. That's exactly what a weapon inspection should consist of. So I'll show you the steps to it. All right. So step one is you're gonna break your firing grip, and you're gonna I grip the tube, okay, your receiver extension, and then my thumb is immediately gonna come up and hook the charging handle, and I'm only gonna pull it back maybe an inch and a half. I use a natural index of my hand, so I'm gripping behind the nut, leaving a space between the web of my hand and the back of the charging handle, flipping my thumb over the charging handle, pulling back. I don't have to look at this, right? Like I'm not looking in the chamber to see if there's a round there, right? What I am doing is flipping the gun, grabbing the tube, pulling the charging handle back, the trap door is gonna come open. I have the weapon in close where I have positive control. This is where I break my hand from the front, bring it around, and I'm gonna reach in here, and I'm gonna feel teeth, but then in front of the you're gonna look for in front of the teeth. So you'll automatically just feel a thin cylinder right there that is unmistakably brass. That feels different than, you know, the exposed part of the bolt, right? So you can't mess this up, I'm telling you. So if your weapon is empty, it's going to be a little different. You're going to pull it back. You're going to reach in here and you feel a gaping hole, right, in the receiver. It's just, you're really going to notice that there's nothing there, okay? Now, the second part of it, is you're going to remove the finger, release the bolt. The bolt's typically going to go home. Sometimes it won't because it's too dirty. Before you take off your backhand that's holding on this receiver extension, you simply drive it into the forward assist to ensure that the bolt goes home, the carrier itself. Now that that has been done, you immediately just transition up and close the trap door. Firing hand back on firing controls, forward hand back on forward controls, okay? This is the procedure. This is the fastest, this is the fastest weapon inspection that always works. It works in any condition. This is what should be done all the time. This is the way it should be done for an AR-15. If you are implementing this weapon inspection procedure, you're gonna have a leg up on Murphy. That's what you're gonna get out of this. You're gonna always know the condition of your rifle all the time. It's the number one most important thing after having a hard zero. And then the last thing I'll mention, because I'm sure if I don't say this, I'm sure that I'm gonna get this comment, okay? So you're probably, if you're new to firearms, you're probably used to seeing everyone and their, you know, mother doing this, right? Putting their firing finger index out, right? Keep the finger out of the trigger well. That's a sign of a true warrior, right? Well, there's issues with that. So if you were watching the weapon inspection, you're probably going to notice that, you know, like my trigger finger goes behind the trigger. So I index behind the trigger where the front of my finger is making contact with the trigger, and I'm in the back of the receiver. So this is my safe position. Now, the reason why that this happens is because when you go into this position, you're actually not in the proper firing grip. Most people put their finger right here, and when they do that, they're not actually, you know, they're not using the correct grip, you know. So their grip is not actually up here, where it should be in the tang of the weapon, because if it was, then their index finger is going to be all the way over here, right? And so this is the natural resting position. So if you go on long movements, really long movements, or runs, rifle runs with a rifle, this is naturally where your hand is going to work. And a high tang grip is the correct grip. People that are using like tang fillers and stuff, if you're not, that's okay as long as you're able to access controls, and everything. But the A2 grip is actually the best. So A2 grip, the nub shouldn't be there. So you take the nub off, right? Nobody likes the A2 nub. It's a silly, post-Vietnam add-in. But you remove that, and then the A2 grip is fine. This is actually the same. It's approximate in circumference to a Olympic barbell. So these are designed to move weight and control it really effectively. And this is the most generally optimum circumference. And that's why the A2 grip. People that love the A2 grip, if you're wondering like, why do I love the simple grip? That's the reason why. Anyways, so if you saw me doing the weapon inspection, you're like, why is this finger right there? Dugan, your finger is in the trigger wall. It is. It's not though. This is a advanced location to, stow your trigger finger on an AR-15, okay? It looks, to the novice, to the uninitiated, it's gonna look like you've got a finger in the trigger wall. You're in the trigger wall. You're actually making contact with the trigger. So like you know that you're not going to pull this trigger because you feel the trigger, right? And you can also grip with more control the entire weapon. Like I can grip this so hard. I'd do a 2.5 on Captain a Crush. I can just grip that and almost break this. Almost, I swear. Not quite. So anyway, that's what's up with that. If you didn't know, and now you know, and that way you don't say anything, because then if you did say something, then I would know that you don't know
very much at all.